Are you ready to have a fun launch? Tired of feeling stressed out, burnout, and exhausted when it steps into your launch? Or maybe it's your first launch and you've heard all the horror stories and you just want to avoid it. In today's episode, I want to share how you can make your launch fun and stress-free. Hey y'all, I'm Kat. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a biz coach and integrator for creatives, helping you make dreams and dailies happen. And we are still talking about launching around here. We've got an 8-week series going on, so go back, watch some of the old episodes if you're new around here. And there's also a launch blueprint that we are going to link below where you can get the full A to Z for launching. I love talking about launching. I have launched dozens of both products and in-person events and services over the last 8 years as an entrepreneur, and it's really fun for me. Yes, the F word. Nobody says that F word when talking about launching, but it can be fun. So maybe you're watching this because you've never launched before and you've heard all the bad stories and you're like, oh man, it's going to be so stressful, and you're already feeling a little bit negative about the launch planning process. Or maybe you're watching this because you have had really stressful launches in the past. Regardless, I want to help you figure out how the launch can be fun for you. And I've got a system and I've got a plan, and that's what we're going to talk about today. In order to make sure that your launch is so much more fun than it's ever been before is understanding the stages of the launch. I'm a planner. You can see all the calendars behind me. I love to color code. I love to map out. I want to know what's coming. I ask a lot of questions. And that, in my opinion, is a really good thing when it comes to launching, because it means that I can plan it out. I can figure out what's going to happen when, so I feel less stressed in the process. Because I'm willing to bet that most of you, if you're watching this, you don't think of the word fun when you think of launching, because launching is really stressful to you. And being stressed is not fun. I don't care who you are. It's just not fun. So if we can alleviate the stress and eliminate the stress, then we can make the overall launch fun. So how do we plan that out? Well, number one, remember, I mentioned that launch blueprint that's linked below. That is my full A to Z. But I know some of you guys, that might be a little too much. It might be a little daunting and you want like a simple approach. How can we just simplify the stress of it all? Okay? In order to do that, I want you to think about the launch in stages. 4 stages to be exact: product creation and setup, pre-launch, launch, and post-launch. If you think about the launch in these 4 stages, then you can prep and plan for what's to come in every stage. So in the first stage, product creation and setup. Product creation and setup is, as it's titled, for the creation and setup of the product. For some of you, if it's your very first time launching the product, that phase is going to be heavier. It's going to be more time intensive. You're going to have potentially a lot of to-dos on your plate because you are outlining and designing slides and creating the actual product. You're doing a lot. Others of you, maybe you've launched the product before, so you're just kind of fine-tuning, you're tweaking some things on the back end, making sure it's all going to work well technology-wise when it comes to the launch, and the product creation and setup stage isn't really going to be that stressful. That's great. Either way, whichever camp you fall in, that first stage is all about product creation and setup. I like to carve out 6 to 8 weeks for product creation and setup. I talk about this in our video all about the ideal timeline for a launch. I find for me personally, 6 to 8 weeks tends to work well, but that timeline for product creation is really specific on your business, your product, what's going on in your life, and you kind of evaluating your own time to make sure that you don't feel stressed while in that product creation and setup stage. The second stage in the process is the pre-launch. We've talked a lot about pre-launch in our past episodes because pre-launch is vital. Pre-launch is all about marketing. It's prepping your people, priming your audience, having priming content ready for them. I like the priming stage and that pre-launch stage to also be about 6 to 8 weeks. There can be overlap with that product creation stage, but I like to have about 6 to 8 weeks to fully get into pre-launch mode for my audience. And if I allow that 6 to 8 weeks time frame, I feel less stressed. I've prepped for it. I've planned for it. I know that coming up on my quarterly calendar is a pre-launch phase. So I can do some of that work ahead of time, get content pre-scheduled, get things ready to go to eliminate the stress and have so much more fun during the pre-launch stage. Now, the third stage is the launch. Open cart period, webinar, challenge, whatever it is that you are doing to actually say, hey, the virtual doors have swung open. Please come and join me inside. Launch week is typically stressful because of the emotions of launch week, right? There's so many emotions. Day one, it's like excitement. We're here. Yes. Day two, you're starting to tinker. Like, wait, why aren't more people signing up? What's going on? By day three, you regret ever even creating the product. You don't know why the doors are open. There's so many emotions involved in launch week. So in order to make launch week feel more fun and be less stressful, you want to plan. I'm going to repeat that probably 17 times throughout this video, but planning for that launch week stage is going to allow you to be able to ride the roller coaster of natural launch week emotions while not feeling like you also have all of these to-dos yelling at you. You can have things prepped, have things scheduled, and feel so much more relief in knowing that there are things that are just going to keep running and you can feel those emotions that are so natural to launch week. Now, the fourth and final stage is the post-launch stage. This is the stage that is forgotten the most when it comes to any sort of launch. We tend to get done with launch week, cart closes on that last day, and then we just jump right back into regularly scheduled programming, or we completely fall off the face of the earth. We don't share anything on marketing. We don't send any more emails because we're exhausted and we're burnout, and it's been a heck of a ride for the last 8 weeks. Sound familiar to anyone? Post-launch allows you to have that downward swing of the roller coaster. And I talk about this in that same ideal timeline video. So we'll make sure that that is linked below. But in prepping and planning for a post-launch stage, that can be less stressful and then more fun. You could have some content already queued and ready to go for your people so that you can actually check out, so that you can take some time to just decompress and process after the launch has taken place. So, y'all, in order to make your launch more fun, you need to prep for it. You need to plan for it. You need to know that when you're looking at a launch in the simplest form, yes, I love that launch blueprint that I gave you, that full A to Z timeline, but in the simplest form, it's 4 stages. It's product creation and setup, pre-launch, launch, and post-launch. And when you break the launch down that way, when you then pull out your quarterly calendar or you get your color coding or you start to kind of plan out your to-dos and your deadlines within that 4-stage process, you can get it done. And when you're getting things done, you're likely not going to feel as stressed because you're going to see those to-dos checking off the list. You're going to see movement happening in your business, and you're going to feel relief that, hey, you have a plan, you're able to follow through with that plan and move even closer to a stress-free and fun launch. I hope this was helpful, y'all. If you have any other questions around creating a stress-free launch or specifically those 4 stages that I mentioned, first of all, be sure to download that launch blueprint. It is linked below, but also leave me a comment. I would love to talk with you, love to help as you process through what those stages are going to look like for you in your business and how you really can have a stress-free and fun launch process. Thanks, y'all.